concerns about the state of education in the U.S. are growing as new data is showing declining student performance across subjects, right across the board. Schools are facing challenges like teacher shortages, widening achievement gaps as well. Well, Meghan Freeman is a veteran educator and co-CEO of IlluminateXR, and she is here to talk about why the issue may be how we design our learning. We should take another look at it. We say good morning to Meghan.
Good morning, Ken. So honored to be here.
It's good to have you on. Thank you. And my mother was an educator. My mother-in-law was an educator. So this is near and dear to my heart. And it's frustrating to see that this is like a perennial problem and how so many people don't get that education is not just a one-sided issue, right? That there are many facets to making sure a child is properly educated. So why are we seeing the student performance decline across so many subjects right now?
It's a really dynamic problem, and I would say that the focus for many years in education has been these standardized assessments. And assessments are important. They are a part of life, but they are a tool. And when
Mhm.
the weight of those assessments becomes so strong, something has got to give. And what I would say is that deep thinking and critical thinking has become secondary, and that is the magic of learning. So, what we need to really do in education is look at redefining what it means to learn in today's day and age and bring to forefront, reinvigorate the idea that the messy process of learning is just as important as those assessments that are snapshots and measure how students are doing in one moment at a time.
Yeah, too many students. My mother used to say this all the time. Too many students learn how to take the test, but don't know
Yes.
the subject matter. They have no idea. They walk away. They've forgotten anything about the subject matter. It was just how do I achieve the best score on the test? And in the 1950s, 1960s, they didn't have these achievement tests. Students took regular tests in school, and that's how they passed. So I understand that it was because of the federal government wanting to standardize everything, so they got the same snapshot from every state, but not every state's the same. And students learn at their own paces. And, I mean, there's something to be said about the localization of education. And we want everybody to be at a certain level, but at the same time, we want to make sure everybody knows when they get out of school how to count.
Exactly. We're seeing many businesses too really scream at the education secondary world saying, hey, we need these skills. We need these human intelligence skills. We need students who can critically think and think on their feet and problem solve. Because what we're finding is that students are, like you said, great test takers. They're really good at school, but they're struggling with the ambiguity of the business world. And so, what we need to do is really listen to those human intelligence skills, especially in the world of AI, where answers are given to students in moments. Students are able to produce essays in seconds. So, we need to really redefine output. What's the goal of learning? And I would challenge the goal of learning must be deep thinking and that messy learning process.
Amen to that. Here in New York and New Jersey, they have made it a rule that you can't have that in the classroom. So the minute people check in, kids check in, they have a zip bag. Their phone goes into a locker, and they can't use their phone throughout the day until they go to leave. How much of an impact has that little device made for detrimental reasons and also for positive? I'm assuming there's some positivity to it, but in terms of the detriment, how much has that negatively impacted students, do you think?
Well, we've seen a lot of research looking at the impact of cell phones on students, even just brain development, attention span. So we can't deny the fact that there are consequences for a device. And schools are seeing significant increase in student attention and the ability to be able to problem solve and critically think when the phones aren't in the room. And the idea also is to make sure that we develop relationships together as humans. One of the best part of schools is the relationships you build, the friendships, the personal relationship you have with mentors and teachers. That student teacher relationship is one of the most critical at keeping students in school. And so when you have a device that takes your attention away from that very important focus, it does distract from the ultimate goal. So making sure that any technology tool, whether it's AI, a computer, or even a cell phone, when it's used in education or maybe not, we need to make sure that the device is designed and the learning environment is designed to have those tools support student thinking. And that is what we do here at Illuminate XR as well.
I love it. Yeah, because otherwise, what's the point of going to school? You can just sit at home, right? As we learned during the pandemic, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. You need social interactivity. We unfortunately we saw for that first year or two right? Right after the pandemic, kids had no interactive skills. They couldn't talk. They couldn't look you in the eye. Everything was, yeah, yeah, yeah. They didn't know how to communicate. They felt uncomfortable being in social settings. And we kind of destroyed a sub decade of students by keeping them at home. I mean, for obvious reasons, we had to in many cases. But unfortunately, that is what people don't realize, that it's about the whole student. It's about learning the information, but also about learning to be humans. That's an important part of it, isn't it?
So much. And those human intelligence concepts, that critical thinking, communication, collaboration, those are the skills. And I argue they're not soft skills. I argue they're hard skills. And learning behavior is measured. And when you have systems or tools that allow for teachers to see those behaviors, like at Illuminate XR, we are building a platform where teachers are given early insight so they can support students in personalizing the journey, ensuring they're building those essential skills to be successful in this fast-paced world. Students need so much more. And the previous guests, Danny and Chris, who were developing and creating their own company for the better good, how wonderful would that be to be something that's happening across the board? There's so many moments in education where you see students shine. And what I'd love to see is those messy moments in the middle where students are sitting and together are able to be treated as humans and start solving world problems. The skills that they're building as a result of that work are what matter most when students leave school and enter the workforce.
So this is so just for so people understand, Illuminate XR is sort of a supplement for students who are kind of struggling to get along. This is a new way of learning and absorbing and understanding information. Just I should have said that right at the top so that people understand. But you've provided all good information along the way. What is a website, please? And I'd love to have you back on to talk about this again. What is a website for people to get more information in case, especially if they see that the student in their life is struggling along?
Absolutely. So illuminateXR.com is our website, and we really are focusing on those human intelligence skills first, bringing back that messy learning process to education so we can see proficiency rates climb instead of decline.
Yeah, and this is for the health, the mental and overall well-being of the student, and so a student will love school and love interactivity as opposed to looking at it with dread. It's wonderful to have you on. What is that website one more time? Give it again.
IlluminateXR.com.
All right, Meghan Freeman, excuse me, veteran educator and co-CEO of Illuminate XR. Thank you so much for coming on this morning, and please promise you'll come back again. I want to talk more about this.
Absolutely, Ken. Thanks so much. So honored to be here. Have a wonderful day.
You as well. Thank you.